New York City, the city that never sleeps. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Welcome to the top of the rock. We're going to enjoy sunset views as we look at Midtown Manhattan there with the Empire State Building, the new skyscraper to join our skyline, One Vanderbilt. And in the distance, we see the One World Trade Center, also known as the Freedom Tower. I'm Ariel, you're watching Urbanist, and let's enjoy seeing New York City transition from day into night. So right now we're looking at the views. Let me know what buildings do you recognize here as I point the camera straight into the middle of Manhattan. New York City, one of the largest cities in the entire world, the city that has changed the world for the best, has had an incredible impact on culture that spread all throughout the world, from the punk scene of the 1980s to the folk scene of the 1950s to hipster indie rock, avocado toast, Brooklyn brunch, ice cold coffee. Today we're enjoying this beautiful city. Oh, I'm so happy so many people are joining here live. Welcome everyone. I'm Ariel. This is Urbanist. So I am at top of the rock. Look at this. So there is Central Park there in the distance. And we see the super skinny skyscrapers of New York. And we got front row seats for the sunset. Oh yes, yes we do. So we are here at the third level of the observation deck. The observation deck is actually a whopping 3 levels here in New York City. So hello everyone, I'm Ariel with Urbanist, and I'm so excited to bring you New York City at sunset. Let me know where you're watching from, and let me know, have you seen these views in sunset before? I've been nearly to all the observation decks. Yeah, I've already been to all the observation decks during sunset, and every time it blows my mind. And tomorrow's going to be a rainy day, so I think we're gonna have a very colorful sunset. So I'm gonna stop pointing the camera to myself and start pointing it the other way. All right, so I'm gonna stay steady here, and let's enjoy the views. Hello CB, hello Scott, hello Takio, hello Virgil. What building am I at? I'm at top of the rock is the name of the observation deck. Rock is short for Rockefeller Center, and we are specifically at 30 Rockefeller Center, the same place as the location of the famous TV show of the same name with Tina Fey and Alec Baldwin. Am I freezing up here? Today's actually a pretty warm day. It's already starting to get cold. So I'm pretty bundled up just in case it starts getting colder, but it's about 50 degrees. Hello, Cecile. Hello, Laureen. Nice to see you here. Hello, Thomas. Hello, Don. Hello, Chris. How much did I have to pay? I paid about $42. So $41 and about like 38 cents. That was my total admission price. The ticket price is $38. Plus, if you buy online, they charge you a convenience fee and taxes. So $41.38. How long would this stream continue for? So there's very bad service here in Top of the Rock. This is going to be a single shot live stream, and it'll probably be an hour as we wait for the sun to transition down and night to take over. So just enjoy the views. Consider this as a little window to the world. I'll try to show a few different angles as much as I can, but I don't want to test the waters too much because service here is not the best. So we're getting, after years of testing, I've been doing live video for 4 years on Facebook, and now the past few months I've been doing it on YouTube as well. So after years of testing, I found this exact spot that I have a steady connection throughout. So Chris, hello. Hello, Neil Bull. Is that Liberty Island? All right, let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. I think we'll be okay if we zoom in. Yeah, we'll be okay. So there in the distance, we see Statue of Liberty. It's very tiny. Right there, towards the right of the screen. Towards the left of the screen, we see One World Trade Center, also known as the Freedom Tower, 1,776 feet tall. But now it's no longer the tallest building by floor. It's still the tallest building because it has a gigantic antenna, which makes the total length 1,176 feet tall. But one Vanderbilt actually beat it, which I'll point the camera very soon. And hello, Elisa. Nice to see you here. So let's take a look at the H&M building. This is right by Times Square. And then if we look down, we see the ball. The year whose name shall not be mentioned. Whose number should not be mentioned. Right there is the New Year's Eve ball. They haven't replaced the number yet, which I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. They usually do it early December. So yeah, $42 is how much I spent to get up here. Do you have to reserve in advance? I would say in the weekend, I would say try to reserve a day or two in advance. I reserved this about 2 days in advance, especially if you're coming here during sunset. It would be a good idea if you're coming here Friday or Saturday to reserve a few days in advance. Otherwise, I think you'll be pretty good. You'll probably be able to even get in a few hours before buying the ticket. So only on Friday and Saturdays it's really filled up. So right there in the distance, we see the other observation deck. That is 30 Hudson Yards, and we see the tiny little people there in the distance. So let's zoom in. Linda says, this is nothing but beautiful, like seeing it in person. Oh, I'm so glad. All right, let's... Right there, we see the tiny little people taking Instagrams. And we see other tiny little people taking Instagrams right down there. If you come over here, love is always in the air. How high am I up? I'm at 67, 68, 69. I think 69th floor, I think. That looks like Stark Tower. It's cloudy. Yeah, it's a bit cloudy, which actually adds to a cool, interesting effect. So let's zoom into Brooklyn. Toilet brush salesman, it cost you $38 last year. Yeah, I bought it online, so they charged me a convenience fee. So right there, we see the burgeoning Brooklyn skyline, which is soon going to get much, much taller. Behind this new building to join New York City. Christine says extra stars for extra beautiful sunset. Oh, thank you so much, Christine. I appreciate that. So this is One Vanderbilt. This should be now the skyscraper with the highest top. That's a good question. So if anyone can let me know, is it this one or is it this one, Central Park Tower? Is it this one? Which one has the highest top floor? Let me know in the comments. So Central Park Tower, which is right over here. And over here we have the skinniest skyscraper, Steinway Tower in New York City. Stephanie saying CP Tower. Is CP Tower the one with the tallest top now? It always changes, and you know, when you learn about buildings while they're being constructed, sometimes usually during construction they change height. Okay, so a lot of people are saying Central Park Tower is indeed the tallest floor in New York City. Okay, thank you so much, Jermaine. And thank you, Flicker, Neobul, Stephanie. Thank you. So One Vanderbilt should be now number 2, if I'm correct. So there the sun is. I would like to thank you so much, says Elisa, for the endlessly sunset. I just woke up to a day and wanted to see the sunset from here. Is this skyscraper when kissing there's an electric feeling? Asked Elisa. Elisa, great question. The one that's associated with having sparks whenever you kiss or even touch someone is the Empire State Building, the building we're seeing right in front of us. There in the observation deck, that building is known for capturing a lot of static electricity. And so whenever you would kiss a lover, significant other, you will feel sparks between your lips if the weather conditions are right. So if you really want to have a good date night, try going to the Empire State Building. Here, I don't think so as much. And the reason is, I think, because the Empire State Building has that huge spire, I think that's why it's on average struck by lightning, I think, anywhere between 23 times and 75 times around there. Gwen, hello, nice to see you here. Welcome. I wish I was there and take the photo. Yeah. Flicker, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Carol says, wow. Wow, indeed. Wow, indeed. A window to another world. Gloria says, thank you so much. Lisa says, wow. Hello, Vic. Nice to see you here. Hello, Scotty. Hello, Lindsay. Hello, First Last. One Vanderbilt's the 4th highest in New York. Thank you, Stephanie. Laureen says, it looks so peaceful. It is indeed peaceful from up here, you know. New York City has been very peaceful in the past year, since March. But despite it being a little bit quieter than usual, there's a world of difference from being down below to over here. Gloria says, I love Top of the Rock. Yeah, me too. Jason says, thank you. This has made your week. Someone on YouTube just said, oh my God, this is fake. It's a wallpaper. Nice try. Well, you caught me. It's completely fake. Just kidding, everyone. This is indeed live. I am indeed up here. Can you get sick by being so high up? Not. I don't think physically. But everyone's different. I think some people do suffer from fear of heights, or kind of this. Some people are a little bit more susceptible to vertigo on higher levels, especially because buildings naturally sway the taller that they are. So, yeah, you might experience those side effects, but I would say 99.7% of people don't. Robbie, am I from New York? I am indeed from New York. Oh, now it's getting good, the sunset. So let's move the camera over here. Look at how it's already shining on the buildings. Todd says, how can you call this a wallpaper if it's he's zooming in and out? It's a very advanced CGI. Huh? You and your streamings are unique gifts. Oh, I'm so glad. So right there, someone asked for the Statue of Liberty right there. This view is a lot better than Empire State. Yeah, for sunset, way better, because you get to see a lot more of the city. It's a lot more open than basically any of the other skyscrapers. To me, this is the best one for the sunset. Also because there's benches on the floor right below me, and there's an indoor level on the floor right below that. So you end up seeing really amazing amazing views, and you can see either from the comfiness of the indoors or sitting on the bench, which is nice. So it's accessible. Robbie says, to be honest, Robbie's being honest with all of us. You are the only person that I know on YouTube who does these type of videos. I'm actually one of many. Robbie, I'm so glad you enjoy my videos, but I'm one of many. DZ, what camera am I using? I am using a iPhone 11. That's the camera I'm using. People are having fun downstairs. Mercy says you're the best. Oh, thank you, Mercy. Lori says, but you're the best. I appreciate that, Lori. I appreciate that I'm your favorite. I won't claim to be the best, but I'm always happy to be someone's favorite. That's so awesome. Wow. Hey, Lisa says, are you on the 70th floor? I think I'm on the 69th. If anyone can confirm. I think I'm 69th. Your location today reminds me of how much I enjoyed 30 Rock. Oh yeah, such a great series. This is clearly the best walking guide. Oh, so glad, Martha. And Lisa, thank you so much for the sweet comment. I'm glad I can bring you to New York City. I hope you get to visit soon. So Queen, I'm just going to call you Queen for now because it's a bit tricky to pronounce your second part. But my favorite building, Queen, great question. My favorite building, I'll point the camera to it. Maybe people can let me know what's my favorite building. What's my favorite building? It's a little bit blocked by the MetLife, but it's the one right behind the MetLife building. That amazing building is the Chrysler, the finest example of Art Deco architecture in New York City. Let me know, what's your favorite building in the comments. One Vanderbilt is looking pretty nice, I must say. One Vanderbilt has that homage to the setback style that is all around New York City due to zoning laws that were enacted in around 1915, but yet has that modern look as well. So it's kind of a mix of old and new, and I absolutely find that amazing. The Chrysler went bankrupt. Yeah, the Chrysler was being sold, and I was tempted to buy it, but unfortunately I don't have access to. What was it? How much were they asking? I think they were asking for $500 million. I didn't have access to $500 million, so unfortunately I couldn't buy it. Not yet, at least. Laureen says, I love the Chrysler. Linda, your favorite is the Empire State Building. I'm so glad. Tyler says, that joke about the Chrysler. Tyler, I'm not joking. I will get those $500 million and buy the Chrysler and open up a Urbanist Cafe on the very top. JT, where am I originally from? Well, you know what? I'll show you. I'll show you where I'm from. Melissa says, thank you so much for the beautiful views. Thank you so much, Melissa. All right, so I won't be able to fully point the camera, but I am from down there. What borough is that? It's not Brooklyn. It's the one right next to it. I'm from there. But back to the views. You mean the car or the actual building, Tyler? The actual building, Tyler. Chrysler Building. Queen, got it right. I am from Queens, Jackson Heights, specifically. What building are you in? Daniel, top of the rock. Dirty Rockefeller Center. The real Namaste. Oh, I love your name. How do you come up with the name Urbanist? I came up with the name Urbanist because I was inspired by Jane Jacobs, who was the woman who ended up saving the village, Greenwich Village and West Village, from utter destruction from the master builder, aka the master destroyer, Robert Moses. Jane Jacobs also saved other neighborhoods like Soho, and she had a hand in also saving Grand Central Terminal. Jane Jacobs was a woman who had no experience with urban planning, urban design. She had also no former experience with engineering or architecture. But yet she knew the city on such an intimate level that she ended up redefining how we look at cities around the world. She ended up writing the amazing book, The Life and Death of Great American Cities. And since then, Jane Jacobs, the heroine of New York that she is, has been known as an urbanist. Urbanist is an honorary term given to people who end up learning about the city on a deep level, about its architecture, about its design, about its way how it works, by walking those streets, not sitting down in a classroom, which is a worthy way of learning about the city, but that is someone who graduates from an urban design, urban planning degree, or architecture. But urbanist is someone who's out there on the streets. You don't need to have the degree. As long as you're out there in the streets, you get to learn about the city. Now, I don't claim to be an urbanist by title, because that's an honorary title. So maybe one day I'll be known as an urbanist. But I decided to name the show Urbanist. Hey, No Fluffy, nice to see you here. Man, what if this was your balcony? It could be your balcony if you lived on the Billionaires Row. So if one day in my 80s I'm considered urbanist, that would be mission accomplished. And I know I have a few actual people here who watch my videos who probably might be known as urbanists at some point. The color is outstanding. I agree. Wendy says amazing sunset. I agree. One Manhattan West is great. Yeah, there's a few other places where you can get these kick-ass views and live. A Billionaire's Row is one of them. Hey, JWS gave me a super chat. Thank you so much for a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Super chats help with covering the cost of these attractions so I can bring it to you and more often. So thank you to all the super chatters, the PayPalers like Laureen and Ron and Amanda, and among many others. And also for all the Facebook supporters like Kay, Christine, Deborah. There's many others who have become Facebook supporters. All those people, and patrons as well, all those people combined, thank you so much for contributing so I can make more of these videos and more often. So at least a request to zoom in to what used to be the Twin Towers. So let's do that one more time. So right there, One World Trade Center, you see that singular building? That used to be the Twin Towers. May they rest in peace. Todd says I could be a yogi with my smooth radio voice. I'm glad. Can you turn to the right and see? All right, here's a wider shot. Kashmir, have you ever thought about writing a book with your voice? Just asking. Oh, I really do. I'm looking into doing a voiceover book. I just gotta find the right book. Would I write my own book and do a voiceover? Maybe. I didn't do it for my novella, Retrowave, because the main character is a young woman, and I don't think it would fit. Can you see north, east, and west? So yeah, we can see the entire view. I can't turn the camera around because I'll get bad service. I'll do it at the very end. It won't be bitter. It'll actually be a very sweet end. I'll turn the camera around, show you the other views. But for now, let's enjoy the sunset as much as we can. Where's the Bronx? The opposite way, Robbie. I'll point it out towards the very end of the video. Is anyone seeing the sun flash? What's happening with the sun right now? Oh my god, look at that. Oh, the sun. I'm wearing my sunglasses and oh, absolutely magnificent. I'm just gonna leave the camera here. Is the sun flashing? It's just the trick of the camera. It's actually not really flashing. Nasima asks, is something wrong with the sun? No, nothing's wrong with the sun. It's just the trick of the camera. Don't worry, it is not aliens. They have not arrived yet. So we're all good. Taiwan, hello. Remind me of your name. The Taiwanese person who's tuning in right now. I can't read Mandarin, or the Chinese language, so I would appreciate letting me know. Jason is swooning. Oh yeah. Like this couple over here, they're swooning as well. Orlando, have I heard about the Grand Hyatt? A few people have asked me about that. I haven't looked into it yet, but I will. Such a lovely place to have a date. Oh yeah. I would say if you really want kind of like this feeling of being enraptured by the city and completely like wrapped up by the city, I think this is one of the best date spots in all of New York. Laureen says, send a PayPal. Thank you for the perfect way to end the busy work week. Thank you so much, Laureen. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the PayPal contribution. Yoli says, please hit that like button so Ariel can do more videos. Yeah, if you are on YouTube and want more videos, press that like button. If you are on Facebook and want more videos, consider sharing this video with friends and family or sharing it on a Facebook group. Facebook group is a great way of sharing these videos. So the camera is having a tough time focusing. But right there is the sunset. Do I know Action Kid and Tom? I know Action Kid is a friend of mine. Tom, I have met. Fatima says, we're still waiting for you to get a cute girlfriend so we can have romantic tours. Fatima, stay tuned. Someday in the near future, you'll get date night tours. I'm like that annoying auntie. Fatima, yeah. That's funny. It looks like a Turner painting. Yeah, it also looks like a Edward Hopper painting. No. The true specialness of looking at a sunset is looking at the sun's reflection on the buildings. Hey, Amanda, thank you so much for the super chat. And JP, thank you so much. Do you know why there isn't much skyscrapers between downtown Manhattan? Great question. All right, JP. All right, let me put a vote on the comments. Do you guys want me to zoom in more, or do you want me to give you this view? And I'll answer your question, JP, in a moment. DZ, do I have Facebook? I do, but I do not accept friend requests unless from people I know personally. But I do post things publicly if you want to follow those public posts. So, vote yes for Zoom or no. Or actually, vote yes for Sun, or if you want just general city, put the city emoji. Am I allowed to film in here? Yes, yes. Filming is encouraged here. Where they told me not to live stream was in Hudson Yards in the Edge. Okay, a lot of people are saying Sun. All right, so we'll do this. All right. So JP asked, why are there no buildings between skyscrapers between Midtown and Downtown? There's two main reasons. The first major construction boom of New York was concentrated around what used to be the financial center and the center of many offices, such as newspapers. That was mostly downtown Manhattan, because most of the city originated in downtown Manhattan. But as the city was growing in downtown Manhattan, a lot of the tenements started being built right above it. In Chinatown, Lower East Side, Greenwich Village, parts of Greenwich Village, was modern-day Hudson Square. A lot of those tenements were being built. And then closer to a waterfronts, there was a lot of factories being built. So the high-class New Yorkers first did not want to move towards the tenements. Second, no offices really wanted to build around tenements. So the tenement district kept growing and growing and growing all the way till maybe 23rd Street, basically 34th Street. But then the subway was built, 1904. And when the subway was built in 1904, the hub was not in downtown Manhattan, but instead they decided to make it in Midtown Manhattan, right at Times Square, which at that time was pretty empty. Tenements were all below 34th, and then below Chambers was the Skyscrapers. But New York Times took a chance and decided to build a massive skyscraper in the middle of what used to be Longacre Square, filled with horse stables and carriage houses. That ended up leading to the construction boom of Midtown. Because Midtown, nothing was built there yet. There might have been shanties, or there might have been a few high-end mansions, but no major construction in Midtown. So the second major construction boom of New York was in Midtown Manhattan in the early 1900s, all the way till, now. And that's why, to this day, there's very few skyscrapers in that middle area of Manhattan. Seth, I hear you of what you think is the proper pronunciation of Manhattan, but I will continue pronouncing it the way I already do. I've been pronouncing this my entire life. Many of my friends pronounce it this way, and that's the way I'm going to stick to. However, now that is changing. So JP, thank you so much for that amazing question and the super chat. So that is changing now with skyscrapers starting to pop up at 23rd Street, right next to the Flatiron. And there's a major skyscraper being built on the Lower East Side. That's the one right, or already being built, right behind the Manhattan Bridge. What does Manhattan mean? Great question. Manhattan is a word from the Lenape Native Americans, and it means basically long island, or a very long, fruitful island, or island of many hills. Lenape really didn't have like written records, so there's no precise meaning, unlike what we would encounter with many European languages, or say like Aztec or Maya, which had more written down records. So many people think that it meant more the island of many hills. But why? There's barely any hills as we see in Manhattan now, but if you go further up, you'll find more hills, especially once you go to Washington Heights. Hello, Pia from Denmark. Nice to see you here. Hello, JP. Elisa says, please pronounce Manhattan as you always pronounce it. My pleasure, yeah. How do you pronounce Manhattan? Oh, you're hearing it right now from me, Melody. But some people say, especially if you're from other parts in the US, people would say Manhattan. Other people would say Manhattan. It's kind of more the classical way of saying it, Manhattan. You kind of just drop the T's altogether. No, there's no time limit here. I'm not entirely sure with the pandemic if, no, is there a time limit, but I haven't encountered one yet. Have you been to London? Yes, Amanda, I've done 1 month of London, more than 40 videos about 2 years ago. They're all on Facebook, but I will be back in London, hopefully in 2021. I think there's a very good chance I'll be going into 2021. And Wendy says in Maine, I say Manhattan. Yeah, right. How cold is it now? It's dipping like 48 degrees Fahrenheit. Where's downtown? Right there where you see One World Trade Center. Downtown, it shifts, but anything below 14th Street is basically downtown. It would be called Lower Manhattan. Do you think other cities would copy New York? Great question. I love that question. So, wow. So a few years ago, actually 2 years ago, I came here with my friend Jennifer O'Brien, who is a vlogger, and I helped her film and shoot a few photos. And we were standing and seeing the sunset. A guy asked me to take his photo, and I took a photo of him. And he had a very thick accent, and I can immediately know that he's from China. I just didn't know exactly where. And he was looking out, and he was like, wow. So he was utterly amazed by the view. And I was like, oh, wow, oh, cool. Yeah, these views are amazing. And I totally related to him. And I asked him, oh, where are you from? And since he had a Chinese accent, I thought to myself, oh, maybe he's like from a smaller town or a smaller city in China. And when you say smaller cities in China, even they're huge in of themselves. But he ended up telling me that he's from Shanghai. I was shocked when he told me that, because I was like, but doesn't Shanghai have more skyscrapers than New York? Because it does. And Shanghai is a gigantic city. It's the biggest city in the world. And he ended up telling me, like, yeah, we do, but New York, there's something special with it with New York, all these buildings are so much more concentrated together. They're more all packed. And because of that, there's certain magic to seeing all these cities kind of crammed into one tiny little island, the island of Manhattan. And of course, we see skylines popping up in now Brooklyn and in Queens. And that, to him, even coming from the biggest city in the world, Shanghai, to him, New York City is magical. And that kind of blew me away because it showed me that, yes, there might be other big cities in the world that might have magnificent views like New York, that might have more skyscrapers, that might have taller skyscrapers like Dubai. But there's still something special about New York. JWS, thank you so much for the second Snapchat. He says, tremenda visita para sacar los fotos. Oh, qué bien. Y cualquier persona está mirando en español puede preguntarme cualquier cosa también. Yo soy fluente en español y en inglés. So JWS gave me a super chat saying it's beautiful views. Thank you so much. Do you need binoculars to see in the distance? Yeah, if you have binoculars, you'll probably have a cool time looking at the views of the city. So now the lights are starting to trickle on. Leica says, are you joking? The city is very dirty. I'm not joking at all. I am from the opinion that this is one of the most magical cities in the world. Let me know what you think in the comments. Patty says, your Spanish is amazing. Nice accent. Oh yeah, my pleasure. ¿En qué parte en Manhattan estamos? Estamos ahora en un lugar, un nuevo edificio que tú puedes ir a la parte de arriba que se llama Top of the Rock, en el medio de Manhattan, en la calle 51 en Nueva York. We're at 51st Street, around 51st Street at Top of the Rock. Queen, do I speak Portuguese? No, I wish I spoke Portuguese. Oh, Cindy, wow, very generous super chat. Thank you so much for the $25 super chat. It says happy holidays. Happy holidays to you too as well, Cindy. What building is to my front? So that is the Empire State Building. We have one Vanderbilt right here on the side, on the left. The one with the Golden Dome right over here. That Golden Dome, the New York Life Insurance Building. All right, now it's getting cold. Blakely, do you have to pay up here? Yes. It's $38 admission, a little bit cheaper for kids, and I think there might be a senior citizen discount as well. I paid $41.38 around there because of I bought it online, so it was plus taxes and a convenience fee. Vlad, is this real? Yep, you're seeing this live, Vlad. I am actually here, live. Mucho frío. Ahora, Marcelo, ahora está haciendo frío, sí. Se está bajando bastante rápido la temperatura. The temperature is going down pretty fast. with remote working, is there a need to stay in Manhattan? Probably not. Not a specific need due to work. If work arrangement starts changing, tech companies are already starting work from home arrangements for a longer time. No, but then again, does that mean a city is worthless? No. I think the beauty of a city is that you can hang out with people, walk around for blocks and blocks and blocks, and always have something to do, always have a new restaurant to visit, a new bar to hang out in, parks to see, beautiful attractions, many, many, many different people to meet from all parts of the world. That's the beauty of living in the city. And even if we move to our future where it is not 100% required for many businesses to live here, I think many people will continue to opt to live. Things have to change as to become a little bit more affordable for people. But if things change, then I think cities will always be attractive places to be, especially if we take care of them. Rakla asked something in Spanish. Rakla, Times Square es por la derecha, sí. So Times Square aquí. Right here is Times Square. And the ball is right there. Ahí está Times Square y aquí está la bola que baja para el nuevo año. Show us the view over the rail. God, no, I won't be able to move the camera. Very bad service up here, so I'm playing it safe, so I can show you as much as the sunset as possible. Have I been to Hong Kong? Not yet, Chris. I can't wait to go to Hong Kong. Hong Kong, I think, is one of the very few cities in the world that has a skyline that's comparable to New York. Rodrigo, yeah, we are indeed on top of the rock. Are they doing anything for the ball drop? It's going to be virtual, but I'm not sure if they're going to film anything in person beforehand. But I will cover it if they do. So someone earlier asked, what's the meaning of the Big Apple? Big Apple ended up getting its meaning from, there used to be major horse races here in New York City. It used to be a pretty big sport in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And one of the major races was here in New York City. And whenever a horse would win, they would take a photo with the horse by shoving a big apple in its mouth, and the jockey right next to him with the trophy. And thus, that prize would be known as the Big Apple. And people end up kind of calling New York City along those lines, saying, oh, we're about to go to the Big Apple, to see the horse race. And it just stuck. It just stuck and became the nickname for the city, the Big Apple, because of horse racing. I gotta go and collect pizza. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're so welcome for these views. Did gangsters control Manhattan in the 1970s? No, not entirely. Just maybe a few neighborhoods, but not in its entirety. It wasn't quite on the level as I think Naples in the 1970s, for example. Adam says, going to dinner. See you soon. Thank you so much, Adam, for tuning in. I'm here until the sun goes down, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Are you still streaming tomorrow? Yep, I am, Joe. 1 p.m. Slajana, do you ever feel lonely in a big city? That's a great question. There have been many moments in my life where I have felt lonely in this gigantic city. It's very easy to feel that way because it's such a massive city, and there's this sense that you could always be somewhere better, which ultimately is an illusion as you are in the city. That feeling of FOMO, in reality, the best place that you are is the place that you are right now. That's the best place that matters. The best person you can be hanging out with is the person right in front of you. So I end up learning that, and to me, I've felt that loneliness less and less and less. James says, beautifully spoken, hits home right now. Marcelo, Astoria. No puedo enseñar Astoria ahora porque no hay buena señal de celular. How important are books to you in learning about New York, says Queen. Oh, Queen, I learned a lot about New York City through books. I can't show Queens because of bad service. Car Free says Ariel's a philosopher. Indeed I am. What are your plans for Christmas, Sarah? Hanging out at home, family, making a lot more videos. Mag says, thank you so much for the views. My pleasure, Mags. Thank you so much for the super chat. And Mr. Bross says, we've reached the magic hour. Oh yeah, we have. What's my favorite book about New York? Great question. Is the Bowery Boys' Adventures in Old New York. It's one of the best books about New York. But the other great book I've read about New York is The Big Oyster by Mark Kurlansky. It recounts the story of New York's obsession with the oyster from the 1700s to the 1800s, to the point where we ate so many oysters here in New York that they went extinct by 1913. It's a great book to learn about the history of New York through the lens, through the perspective of a lowly oyster. Highly recommend it. You should call your channel Ariel Views. No, Carol, even though that would be a great pun, the show's name Urbanist, because I eventually intend to make Urbanist a bigger thing, bigger documentaries at some point. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite New York City book? Have I noticed less visitors in New York? Good question. I have noticed less visitors than 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, it was starting to get pretty full. I was noticing a lot of people are suddenly coming back to the city. I noticed a lot of people coming in from Europe. I saw people from England, Italians, Spaniards. I saw a few South Americans coming in, lots of Argentinians. But suddenly, about 3 weeks ago, that all stopped. And I think COVID has gone in such high levels in Europe and the rest of the US that many of the tourists who were coming over stopped coming over. Though, as we hear, right now, you'll still hear people coming from other countries, or the people recently, expats who live here and are, kind of touristing around. What's the name of the building that goes up gradually? This building is One Vanderbilt. Has one of the deepest train stations in the world. Lost and Cursed. Do you think Bob Dylan shows his music? Hey, you know, if you make art, it's yours to sell it if you want to. How busy is it on this observation deck? It's completely busy. I'm surrounded by a whole lot of people. Not as busy as it would be on a normal day. Usually on a normal time, non-pandemic, you would see this packed to the brim with people. Do I like Ken Burns? I really like... Ken Burns did not make the New York documentary, JJ. It's in the same style because it was actually made by his brother, Rick Burns. And that New York story is a great documentary. Absolutely love it. I should sell calendars with views. Yeah, I'm thinking of maybe making a photo book. Let me know if you guys are interested in a photo book, urbanist photo book of New York. Ken Burns, I think, made the baseball documentary. That was took place in New York. Aurelie says it's almost night. Yeah, the last light should be, I think, in 5 p.m. Kay says, photo book, please. Oh, and thank you so much whoever left the super chat. Who was the person who left the super chat? Was it Ali? Thank you so much, Ali. Hey Sergio, I'm doing well. Hello Fernanda and Federica, bienvenidos, welcome. The buildings are illuminated now. Yeah, they are. The Empire State Building is blue. I'm not sure why. If anyone knows the reason why it's blue today. I'm doing very well, Sergio. Thank you so much for asking. Pat says I can make my own calendar with those pictures. And wish I was there, says Pauline. I'm glad at least I can bring it to you through virtually. Viorel says thank you to the mods. Yeah, thank you so much to the mods on YouTube, and thank you to everyone who's sharing on Facebook. What do you think are the biggest tourist traps? Asked Rakla. Biggest tourist traps in New York City is the commercial restaurants in Times Square. Like, I don't mean to offend anyone, but from my perspective, places like Hard Rock Cafe and Planet Hollywood or even a McDonald's, to my opinion, I think you're better off going to an actual New York restaurant, opened up by New Yorkers. In Times Square, at least go to Dallas Barbecue, which is amazing, in my opinion, and a family-owned business. So someone said the aliens are coming. Are you referencing Independence Day? Such a great film. I think they end up going above the Empire State Building in that film. Sharon, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, I'm getting so many super chats. Thank you, everyone for sponsoring this video. I have already covered the cost for this admission price, so I appreciate you. Hello, Helen. JJ says, now I know why people pay millions to have this view every day. Yep, if you pay upwards of $20 million for one of these apartments, this is the view you're getting every single day. You're waking up to this view. You are going to sleep with this view. Hey, Sergio says my daughter Alice is watching. Oh, Alice, welcome to New York City. Everyone give Alice a warm welcome. I love it when people tune in with their entire family. That's so awesome. Which monument in the world has impressed me the most? Great question. It's a bit counterintuitive, but the monument that has impressed me the most of all my trips outside of New York has been the Pantheon in Rome. 2,000 years and still standing in the middle of Rome with millions of people visiting it on an annual basis. It's absolutely a magical sight to see how these structures built by humans can last for so long and still impress us even 2,000 years after they were built. And every time I've stepped inside the Pantheon, I've thought to myself, wow, this is how people are going to feel 2,000 years from now as they step onto the streets of New York and look up at the Empire State Building. Lori says, Happy Hanukkah. Yeah, Happy Hanukkah to everyone who is watching from the Jewish community. Let me know what's the most mind-blowing monument you've seen in the world, everyone. Have I been to Familia Sagrada? Asked Jason. No, not yet. Hello from Amsterdam. H, nice to see you here. Leia, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Oh, now the Empire State Building is twinkling. Is one Vanderbilt residential? No, it's offices. It only has about like 58 floors, which is... It's very little for a building this tall. So the ceilings are very high. Panagiotis says, read your book, Ariel. Amazing. Also in the future, come visit Greece. Oh, 100%. Acropolis is another monument that blew me away. ¿Dónde aprendiste español? Edgar. Mi familia. Me moví aquí bien joven, cuando tenía varios meses de edad. Queen says, am I an artist? I am, Queen. To me, live video is an art. That's why, you see my videos, I'm not really giving you... The main goal of my videos is not to give you practical tips, even though I do provide practical tips. My prerogative with these videos is to give you a nice window to the world, immerse you into a different place, and maybe inspire you to go out to your own city, to your own town, to your own village, to your own rural area, and see it for yourself. Explore its secrets and explore its wonders. Lori, have I been to Edinburgh? Not yet. I can't wait to go. 2021, you're going to see a massive 3-month trip through all of the British Isles. All on live video, so stay tuned. Is it cold up here, Sarah? Now it's getting very cold, yeah. Carol says, come to Glasgow. Glasgow. Yeah, I can't wait to go to Glasgow. They have a cool architecture as well there. Lots of awesome history. Robert says, where are you? Robert, top of the rock, 30 Rockefeller Center. Thank you so much for tuning in. I can see your comment, This is indeed live. Judith, thank you so much for following super chat. Yay! I stay in the fabulous Airbnb in Glasgow. Ooh. I would love to know which one you stayed at. You should write a little poetry about New York with photos, asked Fatima. Yeah, maybe. As I mentioned, a lot of people want a photo book. So maybe I'll put a combination of my history anecdotes and some more poetic travel writings of New York. Kamel, thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, Pete. Nice to see you here. Sharon says, good thing you're not at the Rock Alcatraz. Yeah. Indeed. Have all a spin-off rule list. Jason, when I do a 3-month trip through the British Isles, you will be seeing some rural areas as well. And eventually I'll be doing, an episode here ever so often in a rural area. Hello, Richard from Birmingham. Can't wait to go to Birmingham. There's a lot of industrial history there. As a big Beatles fan, just wanted to say what a fantastic tour and tribute video you did about John Lennon a few days ago. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed the John Lennon video. Tyler, welcome. Is this a CCTV camera? No, I'm using this on my phone. I just have very steady hands. Pine says, go to Bath. Oh, I can't wait to go to Bath. You will have to learn how to speak Portuguese. We are many Brazilians on my channel. Yeah, Sergio, I've noticed that. A lot more Brazilians are tuning in. Yeah, I think I'll learn Portuguese. Mulaney says, I respect your soft tone of voice right now. Shows how much respect you have for others. Yeah, kind of want people to enjoy their thing. It's amazing quality for a phone, says Carol. Oh yeah, it is. So many viewers right now. How many viewers do I have right now? Gloria says, still 3 hours till sunset in La Costa. Oh yeah. How do you read the comments with moving the camera? Oh, it's not too hard. Steady hands and positive personality. That's all it takes to read comments and move the camera. You have a very positive and kind energy, says Queen. That's very rare. Oh, thank you, Queen. The same goes out to many, many viewers out there. Is this on the iPhone? Oh, yes, it is. Okay. iPhone 11 Pro Max. All links to all my gear is in the description below. Gayatri, thank you so much for tuning in. Do you enjoy going to school in New York? I enjoy my schooling. But school was never my favorite thing, to be honest. I learned way more on my own than I ever did in school, from my perspective. I know everyone's different. What's the name of the building in blue? That is the Empire State Building. Built in 1931 in a record 145 days. Imploster says, tell them truthfully. Yeah, as I mentioned. To me, almost all the history I learned has been on my own. I've had about only one teacher that really blew my mind with history. Two teachers that blew my mind with history. But beyond that, I was always a B student in history. And it's just because they made it so boring. And to me, I had to go on my own to read all this history, to learn all the history. Same thing with a bunch of subjects. I never went to film school. And yet I'm a professional filmmaker right now. All by learning online. Can't travel to America right now. I have no idea. Not the best channel to check it out, but I bet there's a bunch of videos right now and articles online. Will I have to have a P.O. box from viewers? Maybe. Do reach out to me. And I'm considering getting a P.O. box. A lot of people have asked for a P.O. box. So that is Hudson Yards. Do you have a microphone? I do. All right. Let's see. All right. Keeping the camera steady. You're a great streamer, says Jovi. Oh, I'm glad, Jovi. Thank you. I appreciate that. Have I been to the edge? Like, you mean metaphorically? Have I ever been on the edge of life? Many times, Mandy. Many times I've been on the edge of life. Oh, you mean the tourist attraction? Oh, okay. The tourist attraction. Yes, I've been to the edge at Hudson Yards. I've done 2 videos on the edge. One at night and one earlier in the day. But I have not met the edge from you too. I would love to meet the edge from you too. Dave says, have you been on the edge of time, Dave? One time, many years ago. I was actually here in Rockefeller Center. I'm joking. Hey, is there any place in New York where you have explored or want to keep on exploring? Ooh, great question. I would love to show more of the Bronx and Island. It's a bit tough right now because the pandemic. So reaching out to people who could show me really interesting things in the Bronx and Staten Island is a bit tough. For example, I got connected with a wonderful seminary in the Bronx. Beautiful seminary. I wish I could go, but unfortunately during the pandemic, the priests there are said to reach out to them later. I also aiming to do a video of the World's Fair as well. Stephanie says, I'll stop answering questions. I was trying to be helpful. No, not at all, Stephanie. Keep answering questions. I appreciate that. For anyone who's watching, will ask questions that I already answered many times before. Do feel free to answer them in the comments. That is very appreciative. Because, I always have new viewers tuning in, so it's nice to have people already answer the questions that I answer like hundreds of times. So thank you so much, Stephanie. Everyone. Okay. Maddie says, if you're half as pleasant and kind in person, you will go for our area. Oh, thank you, Maddie. I hope I'm a little bit more than half. Usually people's personas online is worse than they are in person. If you had to guess, when do you think these things will start normalizing? I've been so shocked about the vaccine, and this is not a medical channel, so whatever I say, do your own research. But I've been shocked at the progress of the vaccine, and to me, I'm feeling more and more optimistic as I go forward with these videos. So I think by next year, I'm already feeling optimistic of going to the UK next year. So I would say probably by late spring next year, you'll probably start seeing things back to normal from what I can predict. But again, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a journalist, and definitely not involved in news or governmental policy, so I don't know for sure. But from my perspective on the streets and from what I've learned in history, to me it seems like things will get back up next spring. Is the book Gotham worth reading? I actually never read it. It looks gigantic. I would say there's easier ways of learning about the history of New York. If you're a fan of reading and want the biggest book possible, then definitely go for it. But if you want a little bit easier time reading about the New York City history, I would say go to the Bowery Boys podcast. That's probably the easiest way. Of course, you can always watch my videos, but if you want to go, I go in depth fairly often. So if you want to see my older videos, but if you want in podcast form, go to theBoweryBoys.com. Have I been to El Paso? No, not yet. All right, everyone. I am freezing, but I'm willing. Happy to, actually. Bursting with joy to continue on for about 30 more minutes. So if you want me to continue for 30 more minutes, first let me know if you want to see about 30 more minutes of these views, signal permitting. I'll stay here as the temperatures dip very quickly. But if you do want me to continue, you will have to, I will ask you a tiny little favor. For the YouTube audience right there, press that like button, and there we can get as many views as possible, and hopefully we'll cross 1,000. And if you're on Facebook, press either that invite button down below to a specific friend or family member, or share this video to a Facebook group that is relevant, either about New York, about travel, about architecture. And there I can continue on for 30 more minutes. Don't forget to spin and show uptown. Oh yeah, Christine, I will do that in the very end. Well, Ariel, I love the views, but I don't want you to freeze. Well, it's not that bad. But I will need to start walking soon. And unfortunately, I can't walk around with the live video. But the people have voted. 30 more minutes. All right. We're going to stay 30 more minutes. What's your Facebook group called? The group you can join on Facebook is Urbanists of the World. This is the official group on Facebook for urbanist viewers, fans, mods, whoever. And there you can share your views and your photos and your experiences and cool articles about cities and history and food with your fellow urbanists. And I'll mention this one time only. If you enjoyed this video and want to contribute, want to leave a little tip, want to buy me a little cup of coffee or a spiked cider or avocado toast, you can do so. Or contribute to covering other attractions like Top of the Rock and other skyscrapers and tour buses and going to nearby areas. Meanwhile, during the pandemic, or showing you more food places, you can do so by going to paypal.me/Ariel Vieira for a one-time tip. Or you can go to patreon.com/urbanist for a recurring contribution. And there you'll also get the occasional bonus video. OK says, I want to take you out, Urbanist. And if you want a private virtual tour, or if you are in the New York area and want a private personal tour, you go urbanist.live/tours. I offer private custom tours. I already offered a few of them, and people have been loving them. So go urbanist.live/tours for that. If you're interested, you'll find more information there. For virtual tours, I can cover any type of area of the city. It's basically the Urbanist experience, and you can invite as many friends and family as you want to for a private YouTube link. And it'll be customized to your interests for 60 and 90 minutes. Whew. You're shivering for me? Oh, I appreciate that. All right, I gotta jump up and down real quick. Pardon me. Whew. Haven't heard a police siren. There's one in the distance. It's very faint. But yeah, you could barely hear police sirens. Canyon, do I do it on YouTube? I do both private and in person. Not both at the same time, but if you want either a private one on YouTube, virtual, or if you want in-person one. In-person is up to 6 people. You sound very cold. We can hear it. Oh yeah, Roseanne. All right, let's... All right, let me zoom in. Rosie, my name is Ariel, and you're so welcome. I'm so happy you're enjoying it. Not Gabriel, but Ariel. Ariel. Phil says, suffering for your art. Indeed, Phil, like a true bohemian. Suffering for my art. La Boheme. What are the hours you prefer to do a private tour? Oh, I'm flexible with hours, as long as it's reasonable. How long do in-person tours place? And you'll be... Uh-oh. Oh, sorry for the out of focusness. Okay. Zoom in at the people making... oh, they just stopped. A couple of friends are interested in a private tour with you. We'll contact you at the holidays. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Judith, awesome. Hey, Leah. Oh, Leah. Leah has been recently a customer for my private tours. Leah says, yes, everyone, definitely consider looking to Ariel's virtual private tours. Have you been to the Empire State Building? Yeah, and there's a video on YouTube and on Facebook. Facebook, there's a lot of videos. YouTube, there's like one. Can you do a private tour of my high school architecture class? Jason, if it's a class, I can do a private YouTube tour. So reach out to me. Private virtual tour, that I can do. And yeah, I can make it about architecture. Dan Kowalski says Ariel is a detergent in Europe called Ariel, also South America. And I used to have a few classmates in my high school, because in high school I started actually in middle school and then later in high school as well. I went to school with a lot of South Americans who knew of the Ariel detergent. So rather than being called the Little Mermaid, they made fun of me being called after the detergent. Empire State Building is blue for Hanukkah. So right there in the distance we see Central Park and we see Harlem. And we see, wow, look how lit up one of the streets in Harlem is. Which one is that one? Is that Malcolm X Boulevard? That might be Lexington. No, that's not Lexington. But one of the streets in Harlem is very well lit up. Little Mermaid is also named Ariel. Yeah, Little Mermaid is actually called after the fairy in the Shakespeare play, The Tempest. But the thing is, in Shakespeare's time, fairies, not the boat, but the mythical creatures, were always played by men. And the characters themselves, if they were drawn up, they were meant to be androgynous. But then when Shakespeare started coming here to America, especially in the mid-1800s, fairies started being casted as women. And women, basically the only roles they can get is as fairies or as the main female love interest. So Ariel started being played here in the US by a woman rather than a male playing an androgynous figure. Thus, Ariel started becoming more associated with a feminine name here in the US. Then in the 1980s, Disney ended up using the name Ariel for their mermaid. And it became a very popular name for the Little Mermaid. And that's why here in the US, you'll see a lot of young American women called Ariel. Women around my age called Ariel. Mostly a lot of African Americans called Ariel. But in Spanish, it's strictly a masculine name, because if you say in Spanish, it's pronounced Ariel. And Ariel doesn't sound too feminine, does it? It's like calling a woman here in English Robert. Of course, that said, I'm accepting and acknowledge that anyone can be called whatever they want, regardless of their gender, of course. But Ariel, the original name is Lion of God. Yes, okay. You got it. Okay, MC. The building with a solid blue top is 1 Vanderbilt. So this has been a wonderful live video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for tuning in. We saw the transition of New York City from day into night. Tomorrow, stay tuned for a very special broadcast, or might be seeing some very familiar faces in the live streaming world, so stay tuned. You might already know who I'm referring to. There we see Times Square. And Blakely, thank you so much for the PayPal. Oh, Blakely, send the PayPal for a cocktail. Oh, I appreciate that. Yay! I just might enjoy that good cocktail after this, in order to warm up and to enjoy probably a very nice warm. Would you eat if you're here in New York City and looking for something very warm? Let me know. So what time tomorrow? Tomorrow I'll be going live at 1, but I'll let you know if someone else goes live before or after 1. Stay tuned. Everyone, I'm Ariel with Urbanist with views of the beautiful night skyline of New York. There's no place like New York. There's many beautiful cities out there in the world, and Urbanist is all about exploring cities. And each city has its own personality, its own magic. But while many people around the US are having less faith in New York, my faith remains very strong with New York. And it's not blind faith, because I've covered the history of New York in all of its details and all of its facets. And if you learn from the history, you learn that New York has gone through its dips and has risen again and again and again. Just like in all of our lives, if you live a life completely deprived of failure, deprived of failure, you will never amount to anything, because it is impossible to have any modicum of success without falling down every once in a while, without a stumble. It's impossible to say something of note coming from the heart without the occasional stumble, like I do on these live videos, which are unscripted. So keep that in mind. Even cities can stumble. But New York City has shown time and time again that will come back up. Even the city like Rome fell for hundreds of years and came back up. So with that, I'll leave you here with these views. You can watch more of my videos here on Urbanist. Thank you so much for watching. And as I always say, and I mean this to each and every single person who's watching, keep being awesome, because you are awesome. There's something awesome about you somewhere in there, or everything about you is awesome. Keep being awesome, and always keep on exploring. Have a great day, everyone. Oh, New York, New York.